2 days after an attack on the U.S. Capitol by a pro-Trump mob, members of Congress are growing more confident in a second campaign to impeach the president. We want to welcome back Congressman Eric Swalwell, who played a key role in the first attempt and was in the building as attackers smashed their way in. Congressman, I hope you're doing well after the lockdown and then the work you had to do into the wee hours of that following morning.
Well, thank you for having me on. I'm safe. My staff are safe. I'm afraid our democracy is not safe right now. For the first time in our country's history, we will not see a peaceful transfer of power. 5 people were killed at the Capitol on Wednesday, and 286 hours stand between now and the January 20 inauguration, where more threats of violence have been made by the people the president has incited.
And every minute counts. So the president is now being held responsible from both Democrats and Republicans. Is it too little too late to see the GOP lawmakers admit that his words can evoke, now as we saw, deadly consequences?
You know, I'll reserve judgment for that after we get to January 20. But the urgency right now is to see this president either resign, be removed through the 25th Amendment, which would require the vice president to invoke that, or through the impeachment process. But he can't stay in office a second longer. He is and has shown himself to be a threat to life and a threat to our democratic ideals. And I say that with reservation, because we're talking about the most extraordinary power that Congress has. But I say it also with conviction, knowing that this president has left us with no other choice.
With less than 2 weeks left in office, can you explain further the urgency of lawmakers to either invoke the 25th Amendment or impeach the president?
Well, the president is unhinged, and he has been making calls that have incited others to storm and take over the Capitol. And so with 286 hours to go, it may seem like not much time and we could just wait, but we saw in a matter of minutes after the president's speech telling people to fight for him and to not be weak, and his lawyer called for trial by combat, people lost their lives. And this individual, this unhinged leader, has access to the nuclear code. He doesn't have access to his Facebook account or his Instagram account, but he has access to the nuclear codes. And so I think we should all want to make sure that this great experiment in self-governance continues. And the best way to do it is to remove the person who stands as its greatest threat.
And we saw House Speaker Nancy Pelosi working on trying to revoke that military action from even being possible by the president and taking that power away from him. As you mentioned, his Twitter account was reinstated after it was frozen after a while, and the president finished a video message recently in the last 24 hours saying our incredible journey is only beginning, and then proclaiming that he will not be present at the inauguration on January 20th. So can this be taken as a threat, and what can we expect in the weeks to come?
Again, democracy, it's not a guarantee, and it's on life support right now because of what the president incited on Wednesday. We'll get through this. We're a strong enough country, but we shouldn't take it for granted. And so, we need to investigate who was responsible for what happened Wednesday. As I said, remove the president from office so he can't do any further damage, and make sure that we can show ourselves and show the world a peaceful transition from this point forward on January 20 by securing the Capitol grounds for this national security event and seeing Joe Biden and Kamala Harris take office.
And so what's the next step to make that happen?
Well, we are calling on the president to resign. If he does not do that, for the vice president to invoke the 25th Amendment, but making sure the vice president understands that if he does not do that, we believe there's a bipartisan effort in Congress for impeachment, and that there are bipartisan votes in the Senate to convict and remove the president. So we are ready. We are already working on what we can do in that regard. And also, as far as security, the chief of police for the Capitol Police has resigned. The sergeant of arms for both the House and the Senate have resigned. And so we are taking seriously the need to protect visitors to the Capitol and America's elected leaders for that presentation of a changing of the guard on the 20th.
Yeah, I imagine that there's going to be a lot more work to be done ahead of time in preparation of that event, as we are looking forward to what may happen on the 20th.
There is. And again, also, I would be remiss to not mention the concerns of my black colleagues who saw a Capitol on Wednesday that looks nothing like the Capitol just a few months ago during the Black Lives Matter spontaneous protests. Spontaneous, but the preparation for the security of the Capitol was such that National Guardsmen stood on the Capitol steps holding shields, and the Capitol was a fortress. And it didn't look anything like that on Wednesday. And so there's a lot of questions that have to be answered about, why were the president's, rioters and terrorists afforded, access to the Capitol that no one else was afforded in the past. So that's top of mind for many of my colleagues and myself.
That is certainly alarming. Thank you so much to Congressman Eric Swalwell
My
from the
pleasure.
East Bay for joining us.
Thank you.